Hey guys, Tony here at gamefreakblog, bringing you another video. This is my thoughts on the Battlefield 5 beta. It has all ended. It ended on Tuesday just gone. We had a week of it. I don't know about you, but going back to BF1 after this has been a little bit of a struggle. There is a definite pacing issue between BF5 and BF1, which I'm going to touch on first of all. But I really enjoyed it, just to kind of, you know, make my mark in the sand. There's obviously lots of issues with the game. I still think it's quite far away from being finished, to be honest. It's really buggy. Lots of issues that I'm going to touch on, some of which I like, some of which I don't. I know it is a beta. It seems to have been one of these things that any kind of criticism levelled at the BF5 beta is just met with people just saying, well, it's just a beta. And we know it's just a beta, but you know, lots of the things with the beta is just to do with online issues, some weapon balancing, some starting spawning issues, which DICE have touched on. But the majority of the game, the way that the actual core mechanics of the game is going to be running in full retail release is there already. You know, none of that's really going to change. So it's okay saying, you know, it's just a beta, but you know, lots and lots of people have been put off with the game. I do know a few people that I play with on a regular basis who came into the beta and had one go and they were just like, no, not for me, and went back to BF1 straight away. So it has put some people off, but then again, some people do really like it. I think I'm one of those people. First things first, I really do like the pace change. Going back to BF1 after playing the BF5 beta, it is a real pace difference. In BF1, people just tend to swarm straight towards the objective or straight towards the next capture point that you've got to get, and it's just like who can get there first kind of thing. What I noticed, especially with myself playing, but with other people as well, is that BF5 is a lot more deliberate. It's a lot slower, it's a lot more paced. I tend to find myself moving from cover to cover, partly because you know, you can't really see the enemies that well. They're not really well distinguished. They are quite camouflaged in the environment, so you do tend to start playing a little bit more tactically. I've started checking corners a lot more. I've started really slowly turning corners, approaching objectives from a usually in BF1 you just kind of run into the objective place, but I've started really kind of like checking the corners and really trying to become aware of the situation before I go in and try and take an objective, and I quite like it. I like that slower pace. It reminds me a lot more of the older Battlefield, especially like Battlefield 2 and in a way Bad Company and Bad Company 2. I used to play it the same kind of thing there, and that kind of play style works for me. I'm not strictly a kind of run and gunner, if you get what I mean. I like to play the role, and I like to play relatively cautiously. So I did like the change of pace. Sound wise, there are some issues. Footsteps are hit and miss. Every so often I would just get killed, either shot in the back or knifed. Didn't hear any footsteps coming at all, and then in other situations I'd hear what looked like Usain Bolt wearing a pair of clogs out of the side of my earphones, and turn around and just see someone running towards me, and you know, you just kill them. Every so often I've been standing with teammates where guns have been going off, which look like they should be right in my ear hole, and there's been no sound whatsoever. You just see the muzzle flash. Some sounds are really good. I do like it when you're far away from an objective and someone calls in the flying bomb and the bomb explosion goes off, and then maybe a second later you do hear the actual explosion. That kind of, you know, the sound travelling slower than what you're seeing works really well. The health and the ammo system, I know DICE they're looking to make you spawn in with maybe a pouch of health and another clip of ammo. I do think it was just like too little. It was really putting me off playing assault classes, because if you were going in and somewhere was really busy, unless you had a good team members chucking out ammo, or you cleared the place out quickly so you could resupply. It was a bit of a struggle. I tended to find lots of gunfights where you would essentially run into an area and shoot until you exhausted the ammunition, and then you kind of retreat. You'd run back to where you thought the nearest safe place was, just to top up with ammunition again. In a way, again, sometimes it worked okay, and when you upgraded, especially with the medic, it wasn't that much of a problem with the medic with health packs, because when you upgraded the medic a lot, you could put down the health crates, which kind of, you know, made it so you didn't really have to seek out the huge ones that are usually on the objectives all the time. But, you know, DICE are aware of it. There are going to be some changes to be made. I don't know quite how they're going with it. But they're looking into it. You know, they're taking the feedback, which is what the beta is for. Spotting, I'm not too bothered about the 3D spotting going, to be honest. It was a bit, when I was initially playing the game, I was spamming that right bumper button on my joypad just to try and get the little Doritos coming out, but it's gone, so, you know, we're going to have to put up with that. I do think that the sniper should be able to spot through your viewfinder on your rifle, if you've got one. I just think that the spotting with the scope that the sniper's got, not very many people were using it. I can count on one hand the amount of games that I played where I'd see people being spotted by the sniper. It didn't really happen all that often. The upgrade system, I'm not a massive fan. It's very much like Star Wars Battlefront 2, where it's just pluses and pluses and pluses stacking on. There's no kind of balance or negation to your gun. So, you know, I do think with upgrades it should be a payoff. So if you've got you have something that makes your bullets shoot faster, it should mean you can carry less ammo, you know, that kind of thing. There should be a little payoff with any of the upgrades. It shouldn't just be plus 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 plus. And also with the upgrades as well, I wasn't a big fan of the way that you can't come out of the game, like when you get killed, you can't mess about with your upgrades or your assignments or anything. You can't change them about while you're in that menu. Lots of the times I'd be completing assignments or I'd unlock a new bit of kit and I'd have to essentially leave the game so I could go and change the assignment and change my kit before joining a new game. I think it's something that should be able to be done within the game system itself. I don't know how possible that is, but, you know, it's something that I'd actually like. The spawn screen when you spawn on your teammates, I just think it's a bit of a waste of time. The amount of times I've tried to spawn in on my teammates and it's just saying that I can't spawn because they're in a firefight or something along those lines. If I choose to just spawn in from the map screen, it usually doesn't spawn you literally on your teammate. It spawns you, like, you know, 20 yards back or something like that. And I just prefer it that way. It was just really frustrating me, and I just ended up always trying to go back to the map screen to spawn from there. I think it's something that they should ditch. Kind of same with the revive screen as well. The way you've got to, like, hold a trigger to bleed out or hold a trigger to hold on to get your medic. It was very rare that I was in a game where people were really playing medics really well. I do have some video, it's not on this video, but I do have some footage of games where I was in where I'd be killed, and I'm not even kidding. There's one game in particular where I'm surrounded by 4 medics all within 10 meters, and I don't get a revive for the whole thing. They're just running around, they're just shooting. You know, no one was. One of them was my squad mate as well. It's a real issue, I think. This whole thing with basically forcing you to play as a team, because lots of people don't want to play as a team. You may be lucky and you can crew up with people who do play the objective, who do play the team really well, who do communicate, but lots of people just want to play lone wolf. Lots of people just want to run around and do their own thing. They don't want to talk to people. You know, they might just be really antisocial. And it is a real, I can see what DICE are doing. They're trying to force this kind of like team dynamic on you. I just don't think that they can do it. You're always just going to get people that just want to play it their own way. I like the team mechanic. I like communicating, and even when I was in a squad where people weren't communicating, I'd try and talk to them. Sometimes they could obviously hear me because they were following me around to different, capture points, or I'd say people are coming down the left-hand side and they'd break off and go down and take care of those people. So sometimes they can hear. I don't know how that was working, if we were listening to it through Connect or something like that, but I do think it is a part of an issue. Can't really see the players, as I touched on before. Lots of the times I died just because you couldn't. The contrast on some of the levels, especially Rotterdam, is so high that in the shadow, people can just sit there, and the first thing you notice is just being shot. That's the first time you see them there. Some people might like that aspect of just being able to hide away in the shadows and be a sneaky little bogger. It was really frustrating sometimes when you'd just be running around and you couldn't see people that were shooting at you. You'd just die, and there's no camera that zooms in on the person who shot you anymore. You just see a faint red blob in a general direction, really. Slightly frustrating. Speaking of frustrating, the bipod, it's absolutely horrendous. Please, DICE, get rid of it. The amount of times I died because I was in a window and I took aim and he starts to do that clunky unfold the bipod animation, and 2 shots later, because the time to kill is so relatively quick in it, you'd just be dead. You couldn't do anything about it. Get rid of that. And another thing that's slightly frustrating is the spawns on the ammo and the health. Lots of games, especially on the field level, right at the very start, people just run straight to the end of the bridge and attack the other team that spawns right near the health and the ammo. And you do get people that just camp the ammo and the health pickup areas, and especially on I can't remember the game mode where you have to put the bombs on the 4 AA guns. On that level, sometimes it's really frustrating, the amount of times that people are just spawning it. One of the footage just a while back, I didn't put it on, but there was a couple of snipers that were just sitting camping the ammo box, and we just couldn't get near it until we actually broke around the side and decided to take these snipers out. And just another final this is completely unrehearsed, this is just stuff that's coming out of the top of my head. Another thing is sometimes the environment isn't really conducive to telling you what you can and you can't climb. The amount of times, again, I thought I could get up a slight snow drift or a piece of rock with snow on it or something, and you're kind of like jumping up and down and you won't grab it, and it seems like you should be able to get over this thing. It's like knee high or shoulder high at best, and you can't get it, and you end up having to run around something that seems like you should be able to climb it. And I really do hope DICE have a look at that, because it's frustrating. It really is. Anyway, I'm sure there are a few more issues that I could go into, but DICE have been listening. DICE have been really fantastic on Twitter over the course of the beta. They've been changing devs on the Twitter account. There's been lots of people actually listening to the players, and you can tell that some of the stuff that has been leveled, they're changing, they're looking at it. So I have to really give DICE the applause for really listening to the players in this beta. They even answered me, which, I'm not kind of even in the community, if you want to say. So for them to, be looking at everybody's points of view, I think it's been really great. So fair play to everyone at DICE. I know you've got a big thing ahead of you to try and sort this game out for launch. It's been pushed back. We're around about 2 months away from the game coming out. There's lots of work that they're going to be doing. Some people are hoping for another beta between now and then. I'm not entirely sure if that will happen, but we can hope. I'd always love to jump back into Rotterdam again. But yeah, these are just my thoughts, guys, on the beta. I really did like it. I'm not going to be one of those to jump in and shit on it or anything like that. I like the change in pace. yeah, I thought it was really good. Some people I know really don't like it. Some people are thinking it's the nail in the coffin for the Battlefield franchise. Sorry, that's a totally different game. But you know, you've got to think the amount of changes that are going to be coming out between launch and the game finishing. There's going to be a lot. There's lots of work to be done, and I'm going to look forward to it. I'm going to judge it on on its launch day. So anyway, that's my ramblings for the Battlefield 5 beta. I hope you enjoyed it if you managed to take part, whatever system that you played it on. And just let me know your thoughts below, if you agreed with anything that I said, if you disagree, if you've got something that I haven't actually said. Let me know what you thought about it in the comment section down below. Tony here from GameFreakblog. Thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you in the next video. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.